Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is happening in June. Now, who's going to win this fight? Well, first of all, who's going to win this fight? Let's take a look at their latest performances.
He hits like a bitch. It's personal now. He must die.
It was Jake Paul fought Mike Perry. It was Jake Paul dropped Mike Perry in round 1.
Very noticeable size.
Jake Paul then robbed Mike Perry in round 4. Jake Paul then dropped Mike Perry once again, and the rest enough to start the fight in round 6.
This may be it. Right hand, and he's down. Oh. And now wave it off.
And after this, Jake Paul went up to fight Mike Tyson, and was Jake Paul took control of the whole entire fight, won every single round, completely outlanded Mike Tyson, and Jake Paul won by decision. Now let's take a look at Julio's latest performances, in which he fought David Zagara, in which Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. started off great, landed some great shots, completely outclassed David, and Julio Cesar Chavez won by decision. And after this, Julio went on to fight Uriah Hall, in which it was a very boring fight. There was no action at all, but Julio still outlanded Hall, and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. won by decision.
Now, this fight being set to happen just tells me that it's going to be another entertaining fight, not just because of the name that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. holds, but also because it's going to be very entertaining to see if Jake Paul can knock out Chavez Jr. But now let's take a closer look at this fight. When we look at Chavez Jr., we'll see that he has a lot of disadvantages going into this fight, like the fact that he's 39 and he hasn't been that active. His last fight being in 2024, and before that, his fight against David Zagara was back in 2021. So it makes sense on why he didn't look impressive in his last fight, and that's because that big layoff definitely took a big toll on him. So although Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is a real boxer and has faced tough competition like Canelo and has even managed to become WBC world champion, I'm gonna be honest, I'll be surprised if Jake Paul doesn't knock him out or at least drop him. And I say that because Julio Cesar Chavez struggled to get things going in his last fight, and that's with the fact that his last opponent wasn't even a real boxer. He only had one professional boxing match going into that fight, and that's because he's an MMA fighter, and we still seen Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. on the back foot for the majority of the fight. He only had success with throwing jabs to the body, but besides that, he never really followed up, and he never went for the knockout. So considering that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. didn't look impressive in his last fight, it's not looking too good for him in this fight with Jake Paul. So I believe in this fight, with Jake Paul being the younger and naturally bigger fighter with more power and speed, I believe Jake Paul's pressure is going to force Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. to shell up, and is going to prevent him from getting anything significant going. So I believe Jake Paul is going to easily set up a knockout by touching him to the body and exploding with a big shot or a combination upstairs. So I got Jake Paul embarrassing and ending Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.